We've got breaking news out of the NBA where Celtics star Jayson Tatum will make his return tonight against the Mavericks. The six-time All-Star tore his Achilles less than 10 months ago, undergoing surgery in May of last year. He'll return to a Celtics team that currently sits in second in the Eastern Conference, just 4.5 games behind the Pistons for the 1 seed. Tip-off for Mavs Celtics is set for 7 Eastern from Boston. Let's welcome in our NBA analyst, John Gonzalez, as Jayson Tatum is set to return less than 10 months after that Achilles surgery. John, what are your expectations for Tatum? We have to assume he's going to be on a minutes restriction, but what do you expect here in his return?
Yeah, minutes restriction, right? I mean, you're going to probably want to bring him along slowly, but it's really remarkable that he's even coming back at all, Jacqueline. I mean, it's only 10 months removed from him blowing out his Achilles, and Achilles, as you know, is one of the trickiest injuries, especially for a basketball player. And this is one of the quickest returns to action that we've seen from a major star. You know, in the NBA, we've seen guys like Kobe Bryant, I think, came back after 8 months. He's Kobe Bryant. He was sort of a maniac about these things. That's not surprising. But for Jayson Tatum, it really speaks to his work ethic, how much energy and effort he put in. And then the other thing here, and this is an important component of it, the Celtics put him in a position to come back to something, right? This was supposed to be a gap year for the Celtics, and instead the Celtics are sitting second in the Eastern Conference, a game and a half up on the Knicks, who are in third place. Nobody expected them to be there. If they weren't there, I seriously doubt that Jayson Tatum would be playing at all this season. And now all of a sudden, he comes back and he has something to come back to because now they're playing for something.
And his points prop is set at 13.5, so I think Vegas is on the same page that we're going to see a little bit of a minutes restriction as well, of course. It seems like since the dawn of time, John, there have been all of these discussions of whose team is this when it comes to Boston? Is it Tatum's team? Is it JB's team? Like, we're still having these conversations, but do you maybe have concerns? I don't want to say about whose team it is, but maybe about the chemistry of this Celtics team as they've currently been chugging along and where they are right now in the Eastern Conference, and then you're trying to, have Tatum come back in. Do you have any chemistry concerns about them right now with this?
Oh, I love this. Injected into my veins. I was talking to some of my Boston fan friends about this, and this drives them absolutely up a wall. Whereas for the rest of us, I'm like, let's talk a little bit more about this. So Chemistry issues, on the whole, no. But you do wonder about Jayson Tatum coming back and what kind of minutes he's going to get. There are crazy Boston Celtics fans out there who are saying, well, wait a minute, is he going to take away minutes from Hugo Gonzalez and Baylor Scheiderman? And it's like, this is crazy. This is Jayson Tatum. He's really good. You should be excited to have him back. I think Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum have played together long enough that it doesn't really matter whose team it is. They've heard those things time and time again, year after year after year. And Jaylen Brown, yes, is having a career year. But I think Jaylen Brown, just like Derek White, just like Peyton Pritchard, just like all the holdovers from the players on the team who actually won a championship alongside Jayson Tatum, are going to be thrilled to welcome back a guy who was a perennial All-NBA player and a top 5 MVP candidate over the last few years when he did play. So, whoever's team it is, I don't think it really matters. I think they're just excited to go and play for a championship again. Although for us, the drama there is quite entertaining.
It is. And you know what? We keep talking about it no matter what. I don't think they care. And neither of those guys have ever been immature or fed into it by any means. When we talk about the Celtics, we mentioned it already. They're second in the East, just 4.5 games behind the Pistons for that 1 seed. Long term, as we're getting here, into the playoffs, how much of a boost do you think this is going to be for Boston with Tatum once he does start to kind of get back to his normal form?
Yeah, it's huge, right? I mean, because he is going to start off on a minutes restriction, but as we sit here right now, it's March 6th, right? So I'm ballparking it here, but he has roughly 6 weeks to knock off the rust and get off of that minutes restriction. That is a big headway, a lot of leeway for him to work with and for the Celtics to work with. So as they're approaching this postseason, they're second in the Eastern Conference. Nobody anticipated that they would be there. Everybody, including me, thought that this was going to be a gap year, right? So they were already kind of playing with house money. Now you get Tatum back well in advance of the postseason. You can ease him back into the rotation. You don't need to force this thing. If he's feeling like he's not quite 100% right as he gets back and reacclimated into the team, you're not going to play him in back-to-backs. You don't need to lift the minutes restriction right away. And I would anticipate that over the course of 6 weeks, that should be plenty of time for him to get back to being pretty close to his normal self in advance of the postseason, and then all of a sudden you're off and running. I mean, this Boston Celtics team without him is already top 10 in both offense and defense. Now you add in a guy of his caliber, that is such a huge boost for that team, and they were already contenders in the Eastern Conference. Now if I'm the Pistons, the Knicks, the Cavs, I think it's a 4-team race. If I'm one of the other 3 teams, I'm a little bit worried about this. I'm not thrilled to see Jayson Tatum coming back.
Yeah, and speaking of which, the Celtics are 8-1 to win the NBA Finals. That's the best out of any team in the East. They're ahead of the Cavs, ahead of the Knicks here. How far do you think this team can actually go with Tatum being in the mix? Is this an NBA Finals team to you?
They're contenders, right? I mean, it's just remarkable the job that the Boston Celtics organization has done. And all my friends and family in Philadelphia, maybe earmuffs this thing. You don't turn it off. We want you to still watch. But it's a point of pain for other teams. I mentioned it's a 4-team race in the Eastern Conference. Nobody wanted to see the Boston Celtics doing this year. It was, again, supposed to be a year where they kind of took their time. They got rid of Drew Holiday. They got rid of Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, Luke Kornet. That's a big part of their core, right? And Jayson Tatum blows out his Achilles, and everybody figures, well, they're going to take a step back. He's going to rehab. And then what happens? They just go and they defy the odds, and that's Joe Mazzulla, who has been in his coaching bag all season long. I've got him second in the Coach of the Year race. Maybe I need to have him first, because for him doing more with less with that roster, yes, you still have Derek White, who's been asked to do more at the offensive end than ever before, and he's an unbelievable defensive player and is going to make all defense again. And Jaylen Brown having a career year, and he's going to make all NBA. You have like Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser and a bunch of spare parts. They had nobody in the front court aside from Kata other than Nikola Vucevic. So, yeah, I mean, they've just done so much. Yes, they're absolutely contenders in the Eastern Conference. And if you get out of the East, non-zero chance you could win yet another title. They already have the most titles in NBA history. I think the rest of the league, if you don't live in Boston and you're not a Celtics fan, you're tired of this. But the Celtics, you gotta give them their props, because full marks to Brad Stevens and that organization.
Yeah, the Celtics looking for their second championship in 3 years. Sean, we certainly appreciate it joining us for that breaking news where Jayson Tatum will make his return tonight against the Mavs. That was literally less than 10 months ago, where he had surgery on his torn Achilles. Jayson Tatum, we're looking at the most career points per game in Celtics history, in very good company with Paul Pierce and Larry Bird. Again, Jayson Tatum set to return
during last year's playoffs. This is less than 10 months ago, though. Celtics currently the 2 seed in the East. So how does Tatum's return impact Boston's push for a championship number 19?
It's huge for them. It's huge for him. And it's a disaster for everybody else in the Eastern Conference who didn't want to see him come back and certainly didn't want to see the Boston Celtics playing this well. This is remarkable for 2 different reasons here, Madeline. One, Jayson Tatum, as you mentioned, is coming back from an Achilles, which is a very, very difficult injury, in just 10 months. That speaks to his work ethic, how much time he put in, effort he put in, but also the fact that they're even bringing him back. Under normal circumstances, what we all anticipated, he would have taken this entire year off, right? Because this was supposed to be, as we all thought, a gap year for the Boston Celtics. Once he blew out his Achilles, then they go and they trade Drew Holiday. They get rid of Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis, Luke Kornet. Everybody figured, okay, this is going to be a season where the Celtics take a couple steps back. Maybe they're a play-in team. The Boston Celtics under Joe Mazzulla, with Jaylen Brown having a career year, with Derek White being asked to do more than he's ever asked to do offensively, and then also being an all-defense candidate, second in the Eastern Conference. That sets the table for Jayson Tatum to come back, because now he has something to come back to. They were already a good team without Jayson Tatum. They're going to level up with him. And now Madeline, now that he comes back, all of a sudden he has 5 weeks to get ready for the postseason and then forget about it. The Boston Celtics, one of the 4 best teams already in the Eastern Conference, that really takes them the next step further.
Absolutely. Hey, the key to happiness is low expectations, right? The Celtics were not expecting much out of this season and have clearly transcended that. We'll see how it all shakes out as the season winds down. John Gonzalez, thanks as always for the insight.